cartoons. The other short that we watched is the earliest surviving Kenneth Anger short film called Fireworks.
And what fireworks there are in this cartoon.
Yes, yes. Kenneth Anger, provocateur, I guess we could call him.
Sure, I guess
Avant-garde provocateur.
it's funny because I the main thing I knew Kenneth Anger from was the book that he wrote, Hollywood of Babylon, about
Mhm.
sort of like early Hollywood, which is, as far as I can tell, like 90% libel, is like wildly inaccurate and is like very kind of like gossipy and like yeah, it not a thing that I think is was sort of super helpful to sort of like the culture.
It makes a lot of lurid proto QAnon accusations. Maybe that's unfair to say proto QAnon, but yeah, Kenneth Anger. I've seen another one of his shorts, probably his most famous one, Scorpio Rising. I saw that in college. I don't really remember it too well, but we'll cover it when we get to it. I think. Yeah, what'd you think of this one?
I mean, definitely, it feels very kind of handmade in the way that a lot of the other kind of independent experimental shorts that we've been watching have been. I feel like this one is pretty. I feel like the Maya Deren stuff is like similarly kind of dreamlike, whereas the Maya Deren stuff, you're like, what is this about? What is what is what's this movie trying to say? I feel like Fireworks is pretty obvious what it's about.
Yeah, honestly, like maybe it means I'm a big dummy because I want something to be didactic and obvious. But I was thinking about how it is nice for a surrealist like short to kind of really be on theme, be kind of like locked in on theme, so that I can like really parse it a bit better.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, there's definitely I mean, I'm surely like any avant-garde sort of surrealist thing, I'm bringing a lot of my own assumptions to it, as is kind of the point, I think. But yeah, I do feel like it is much clearer to me, I think, what sort of Kenneth Anger is working through
Yeah,
with this one.
that being gay in 1947.
Well, and then because you're right, there's lots of seamen in this one. There's a
Uh huh.
compound word. I mean, arguably, there's the other stuff too, but that apparently I did read on, at least on Wikipedia, that is somewhat that Kenneth Anger witnessed the Zoot Suit riots in 1940. Was it 42, 43? Which was a, a riot where a bunch of Navy men sort of went on a racist bender, and Kenneth Anger, I guess, sort of had a recurring dream or nightmare about this, and this is sort of at least partially what the movie is based on.
Hmm.
There's a lot of like eroticism in this for sure. There's a lot
Mhm.
of like the male body and its all its sculpted forms. That's the voice that the movie would have if it had a voice. But there's also this like really kind of intense violence and kind of anger and like body horror to it also,
Yeah.
that I do think is very striking and feels very does not feel of its time. It feels very ahead of its time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a brutal movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's made even more brutal by the kind of the contrast between the beginning of it, which is this kind of just like appreciation of the male form. It's almost this romantic kind of thing. Um it's it opens with somebody like waking up, uh like a man waking up in bed, putting his pants back on and seeing all of these
Well,
photos
then
of
it looks like he's pitching a tent, but it turns out it was just an idol that he had in the bed.
an idol that kind of looks like the statues from Everything Everywhere All at Once also at the same time.
Yeah, there's also like a whole kind of like maybe like occult undercurrent to it also, which
Hmm.
I feel like it's definitely the thing that I had the least kind of frame of reference for.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure exactly how to comment on that, but like, definitely, like, I think that this movie is kind of making this pretty political statement, right? About like the kind of joys of gay existence mixed with the kind of need for secrecy and fear of persecution, and then the realization of that persecution with this like roving gang of sailors, uh who, like, the navy has this gay reputation, but it's also like macho. It's also like they're beating him up and everything. um yeah, yeah, it's striking. I think there's a lot in this movie that's striking. And like, yeah, you were talking about the puns or just kind of references. There is a scene.
There's lots
uh
lots of fluids in this movie.
There are, yes. I mean, there's a scene before it all gets violent where, like, pardon the slur, but like there are three forms of faggots in the same scene at the same time. There is someone who is they're smoking cigarettes. There are two gay people next to each other, and they are taking a bundle of sticks and lighting it on fire. And they're just kind of taking all of this imagery and like putting it and just throwing it all into the same
Mm.
place.
That completely went over my head, but that is so specific and pointed though. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's soaking in symbols, and
Mm.
unlike, Un Chien Andalou, you can kind of make sense of what he's doing with all of them.
Right, it still has that kind of like avant-garde surrealist kind of imagery and storytelling, but it does feel a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more kind of like anchored to like a single uh theme, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see more Kenneth Anger shorts now for sure.
Yeah.
Being like, yeah, very unfamiliar with like who he was as a person, because like apparently was like big into occultist stuff also, which I think there's definitely like I was picking up a little bit of that in this short. Um 20th century weirdo artists are always I always want to like find out more about them.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was into Aleister Crowley, or Crowley, however you say it, which definitely had a lot of influence on the kind of occult, and edgy, you know, fringe people in the middle of the 20th century. Famously, maybe as a crescendo appearing on the cover of Sergeant Pepper's. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess like just a couple other kind of imagery things. Like you talk about like the fluids. There's like a part where like milk is being poured on top of him. Uh, there's a lot of blood in this movie. There's some like real gruesome violence in this movie, which I think like really underscores like what the kind of fear and agony that it's going for. It's definitely making some like Christ references with the way that he's suffering.
Yeah. I mean, one of my notes is just all caps meat, which because
Yeah.
there is that bit of like kind of not really tearing through, but kind of like I don't know, hands like pulling apart what I assume is I don't know some kind of raw meat.
Mm.
But I think that kind of combined with all of the shots of kind of muscles flexing does kind of create a bit of a parallel of like people are just meat,
Mm.
which feels
Interesting.
like
Yeah, I
a
didn't
very
think
kind
about
of
that.
proto Cronenbergian uh thing where his whole I feel like the thesis of every Cronenberg movie is people are goo.
Nice, nice. Got anything else to say on fireworks?
There wasn't this movie. Someone was arrested for showing this movie, right?
Oh, yeah,
For like
that's right.
obscenity charges.
Of course. So we do need to mention that. Yeah, hounded across multiple of his works for obscenity issues.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit where someone unzips their pants and like Roman candle pokes out and starts
That was
shooting
very funny.
fireworks,
That was very
which
funny. I like that.
earned the title right there.
Yeah, yeah.
It does kind of like the I guess like the gore could be maybe more reasonably deemed obscene, but I'm sure that that was not the obscenity that people were actually taking like
I
objecting
don't
to.
imagine so,
Much
no.
like the MPAA, they're kind of like gore is fine. We don't care about like no, pull someone's head off,
Uh-huh.
but
We don't
don't
like
smooch too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's no, like I mean, there's no actual, like, quote, unquote, "explicit," like, homosexual, like, action in this movie. I don't think there's no kissing in it, right?
No.
Um,
No, it's just
yeah,
but this movie's very gay.
yeah. There's many interesting things about it.
But I think that's notable for 47 because like
Totally.
the Hayes I think the Hayes Code is like if anything like the thing it is most kind of like locked down on is any sort of like homoeroticism.
Oh, for
That's
sure.
like the thing that the Hayes Code is like none of that ever for any reason.
It's also, like, really interesting to see a manifestation of where, like, queer culture was existing at this time, right? Like, we haven't seen much come from out gay people on the show yet, and we haven't seen anything half as gay as this so far.
Right. I mean, it
Uh,
is like the closest has been like James Whale Frankenstein movies, maybe. I don't know.
right?
Actually, no. I would actually say like early Lubitsch stuff, like his German movies. I think there's
Yeah, yeah,
more going on there.
that's true. But like this is like gay. This is like
Yeah.
you're
Although you like
seeing
you said, like no smooching, there's nothing like explicit happening.
yeah,
But there is just a lot of like,
it's a
you
lot of
know,
men's bodies.
yeah. And it's like that you can feel the, the male gaze of it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I guess I should. I don't think I'm not sure if he's actually done anything on Kenneth Anger, but I think one of the interesting things I was saying about this is just kind of seeing like where seeing through this movie, like this station of queer existence in 1947. And I guess I'll just quickly shout out Matt Baum, who is someone who does YouTube kind of historical deep dives on queer media history, including stuff like really old. So he makes very good stuff, and I would recommend that to anyone.